As we hop into Champion Select, Albus NoX on our blue side, Dark Passage on the red. And we'll see what the bans are going to be. Because I have a sneaking suspicion Brand is not going to see play today.
Yeah, Brand, but I would like to think a first ban on Bard would be a point. If they're not going to look to pick it, there we go. Exactly. So they just don't want to deal with it. As a team, they've been past many a Bards. Don't want to have that problem in lane.
Yeah, of course, Dumbledore making sure that they have those nightmares as early as possible. As Cassiopeia, like you mentioned before, is going to be banned away. Albus NoX going to round out their bans with the Tom Kench. 3 supports already taken away, as Brand was, of course, taken from Dark Passage.
Yeah, so now the question is, what's the third ban looking to be? Perhaps Talia. They don't. Well, Albus NoX do have first pick. Looks to be the Gangplank.
Yeah, of course, having a look towards that top lane does mean the Gangplank's banned away, but Smurf gets his hands immediately on that Gnar. That is very, very scary, because this is a champion that's been heavily coveted on the top side, especially in this tournament. 6.16, really doing good things for that little guy, or big guy, depending on what time it is.
And that's when the coach, or at least the coach of aNoX, just looks towards his support and says thank you. Because if you're going to consistently get the Bard and the Brand bans, which seems unbelievable to any other team. Well, Bard is fine, but Brand, not so,
it's not as popular.
It's a bit of a special one.
Yep, I'll give you that. Definitely.
Yeah. If you can consistently get those bans levied against you, then Gnar is always going to be the one that's free. You really, as a on blue side especially, you get so many options.
Yeah, it's Kirei actually considering the Elise right now. Is Ashe being looked at by Elwind? Of course, only the Sivir being banned away. Things like Jhin still available. We saw a cheeky Ezreal yesterday. Still quite a few AD carries left on the board. It is going to be Ashe Elise, so a lot of pick potential already from Dark Passage.
Yeah, this is when Albus NoX should probably have done their work. Ban Kirei's Elise, wins games on it.
Yeah.
Very confident individual on that champion, knows exactly what he can and cannot do, what lanes to camp, which lanes to collapse on. Like, he's really smart with this pick, to say the least.
Well, we'll see whether it is going to work out, as we've currently got a Tarakova over the side of Albus NoX. Now to work out exactly what they want to be putting together. Talia, of course, up once again. PvPStejos can head towards whichever jungler he'd like to right now. Rek'Sai, Gragas, both of them available. His Graves, if he wants to go back to it. Lots of options.
So this is the difficulty, of course. If you have the support bans coming through, especially since now CozQ does not have Cassiopeia available to him, they don't end up looking towards that Talia pick, but they had the option of, but I guess they shied away from it, ended up going for the Taric.
Yeah, of course, Kira, maybe just letting CozQ know that yes, that is a champion that you could play. Maybe saying, I've got an answer to it.
Oh, he definitely does. Throughout the entire split in his local region and in the playoffs, always loved going towards that Kassadin.
Yeah.
Kassadin was a pick that he really was, or at least is, known for. So if you go for the Talia pick, a natural counter is Kassadin. Can make the lane very easy for you. Of course, you do get shoved in, but after level 6, as per usual, he just ults right onto you, on top of you, and smacks you.
Yeah, and Saya from Lion Gaming does exactly the same thing into Talia. It just does seem to be the trendy way of dealing with that pick. And look, I'm willing to, take their advice, because these are the teams sitting on 2-0. As it's a Fiora picked up towards the top side. Elwind going back to his carry roots. As there's the Braum locked away as well. So that Ashe Braum, pretty standard lane towards the bottom side.
So this is very smart for Dark Passage. They know exactly what they're looking to do. They know what top laner they're going up against, obviously. But the fact that Kirei went towards his Elise meant that he is looking to prop up a lane, prop up an idea, usually a split push option. Getting a Fiora for you, especially if it's Fiora versus Gnar, that is very up and down, to say the least. If Fiora gets put behind, Gnar will smack her.
Yeah.
But of course, if Fiora ever finds herself snowballing in that matchup, then that will be a wonderful thing for Fiora. Gnar will not be able to survive in that matchup. So of course, securing the better 2v2 jungle top matchup up against a Gragas Gnar, really solid for them right now.
Yeah, and I actually really like the Fiora pickup here as well. If Kirei can get himself towards the top side, that is an incredibly potent gank combination, and even with the slipperiness of Na, going to be difficult to get out. But it is going to be the Jhin and Talia picked up here on the side of Albus NoX. That's a terrifying team composition as we see it fully completed.
Yeah, a really strong team fight composition coming out of them. Great pick and great kite back too. Gragas and Talia, both of which incredibly strong combination and duo. They can just really roam towards that bottom lane, even look to head top side and just mess up Dark Passage's entire identity and composition. Because let's say, hey, you know what? If you want to set up Fiora with your 2v2, it's not going to be a 2v2 anymore. We're going to be sending up Talia as well and really force Vladimir into a sticky position because this is not a good lane for him.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. Of course, Vladimir locked away last there for CozQ. Hops on a pretty popular champion at the moment, but it's taken a few nerfs, hasn't seen as much complete and utter dominance so far in 6.16. Actually having a fairly, I guess, rounded performance so far here in the IWCQ as well, as he's been winning and losing. The highlight is going to be aMiracle, the Undying on the bottom side of the map, taking on Kirei, now on his Elise. See, look at that. That's what happens when you don't die. You get a 23 KDA.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to stack up. He's playing Jhin this time around, a champion that can definitely get locked down and demolished. So he's either going to die repeatedly, or he's going to be safe enough in the back line, chipping at them with his ulti, and just racking up a larger KDA than he already has.
Well, already, I mean, aMiracle played it in game, the first game that we saw from Albus NoX up against the Chiefs, and he went 6-0-7, so he's probably not too worried. Just seems like the peel coming out of the rest of his team and his ability to be in the right position just really does work out. As Likkrit back on the Taric, it does seem to be favoring this guy when he can't get his hands on his ultra-powerful brand.
Yeah, will change lane dynamic, of course. Last time he played Jhin, he did have the brand in his lane.
Yeah.
Double buff and
just ridiculous.
Couple kills to his name. So
that early 4-minute mark is not one that happens often, but certainly worked out for this team as we are onto the Rift. Game number 1 of day 3 here at IWCQ. It is going to be ANX taking on DP, or aNoX. Do you reckon aNoX works?
Could work.
aNoX. Because Albus NoX Luna is difficult to say really fast.
It's difficult to say, but at the same time, if you can get it going for yourself, if you don't mess up with it, if you don't stutter.
Oh, sounds good.
Sounds amazing.
You like it? All right.
Albus NoX Luna.
Whoa.
See?
Kind of like Razzleplasm.
No.
that's why I think that's why we should go back to that name. As you can see, first dragon is going to be the Infernal. Dark Passage currently having a bit of a giggle in the river here. It's Likkrit and aMiracle doing exactly the same thing.
Who's more fabulous?
So
well,
fabulous.
Actually, fabulous is not the right term because immediately it would be Tarek, but who's more fantastic? There we go.
Whoa.
Got to change up the wording.
Out of who?
Ooh, the dancing out of Braum or Tarek.
Oh, I think it's skin dependent. And I think as soon as you have the pink Tarek skin, then you're going to win almost every single battle.
Well, there we go.
That's what I'm thinking. Another Storm Rider Surge Vladimir, though, as we have a look at the Keystone Masteries. It's interesting. It seems to be coming back here, and CozQ doing the same.
Oh, we've seen a few during the season globally. It's been in and out. Really, Vladimir has the most diverse set of masteries that he can possibly go towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, Storm Rider Surge is a great one just in terms of team fighting because if he doesn't even need to be ahead to really be able to proc it. Honestly just needs the nice positioning in a team fight to get his rotation going. And then of course he's already going to be in the back line, just zooming across the battlefield. That's all he really needs.
Yeah, and you can see Turkish players are out in force today. 73% think the Dark Passage will be able to take down Albus NoX Luna in this first match of day 3. Already you can see Kira putting on the pressure. We'll see whether DP can find their way through for this game, because it will be a very big momentum swing.
This is an interesting bottom lane. Ashe usually has the advantage up against the Jhin. Can't just use volley constantly to get the shove going and constant poke. But then, of course, the support matchup is in favor of Tarek. Braum can never really look. Braum usually has better skirmish against melee matchups. Tarek is different because of how he can utilize his stun So it'll be interesting to see. I doubt the supports will really impact each other, walk up to each other. Braum will have that respect on Tarek. And Ash should just have the shove. So if Dark Passage's bottom lane plays safely, they should do whatever they want. Either allow themselves to get pushed in or just shove constantly. But they should recognize that Kirei's focus is going to be towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, because of course his top lane going to be very volatile. You already spoke about it. If Fiora can get a snowball, it will be very difficult for Smurf. However,
here we go.
If Na can take control, it will be a good news story as PvPStejos is going to see Kirei. There's the body slam, finds himself some spiderlings, but otherwise nothing much else. But in comes Smurf. They're looking for it. They are able to team up. So the hyperproc is going to be there after the bounce, but no body slam to be found, only a slow. The cocoon is going to make it there as Kira speeding up on his sweet stone board, but not going to be able to find too much more. They just get the flash out of Kirei.
So that was a really poor positioning from Kirei. The moment he used his E cocoon to get that scuttle crab, because his entire focus was really well known for himself. He knew he was going to be on the top side of the map getting that scuttle crab and impacting that top side. But he should respect the enemy jungler and know that he's likely going to be in the area as well. Just be as safe as possible. He would have recognized that he was there if he placed his trinket or even just threw his spiderling in that bush, just anticipating it. Either way, he got collapsed. He had to burn flash. He'll be back.
It did mean that Elwind got a little bit of extra time towards the top side of the map as well. You can see actually 8 CS in the lead. The Smurf does have a minion wave to play with. See whether that is going to be equalized. Currently now, Bastion sitting on aMiracle as they are looking for the stun. Dazzle comes down, but there's the exhaust. aMiracle possibly in trouble. The exhaust is going to go down onto Zeitnot though, as Likkrit still trying to disrupt. But just going to be a scuffle.
Back and
Fairly
forth.
even.
Exactly. Nothing really is taken from both sides. Anox will, of course, have Tark with the heal in his passive, so he's going to be better off for it.
Well, let's see whether that is going to be enough to keep them in this lane. Relic Shield going to be entirely relied on here by Rogu just to try and get some cheeky regen. PvPStejos going to spot out and steal away his Raptor Camp. Kirei unable to lock that one down. Level advantage now for Gragas.
And PvPStejos has been in the right place at the right times. So Kirei's pressure hasn't really been doing much for himself. But at the same time, as long as he knows where the Gragas is at all times, then that means that that top side is safe and can do what he wants. Just farm up passively and do just fine in the matchup.
Well,
he has to watch out. He has no
flashes to try and find Kirei, but doesn't get the seismic shove. Barrel doesn't find the slow. That was aggressive.
Yeah, that's when confidence is. That's when you're a little bit too confident as a player. They thought they had the range in a lot of their abilities on either barrel slow or. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, grand challenge towards the top side. One of the weak spots has been procced as Elwind can't quite find another lunge. Smurf goes down low. Otherwise, not too much there. I like it. You know, liberal use of the ultimate for Elwind.
Exactly. Just gets nice damage down. And now this top lane matchup will be, once again, the focus of both junglers. Fiora is far too up, though.
Yeah, now Smurf looking to try and get some more done. Naba relatively low, but there's the flash body slam to come in from PvPStejos. Riposte goes down, but Smurf not going to die, and that's first blood going over to the Gragas.
Already this is going to be disastrous because Dark Passage's composition is entirely around setting up Fiora. And to a point in which Kirei's entire focus with that, at least, is to set him up so the 2v2 might not even be in their favor anymore.
Well, teleport immediately back top for Smurf. Same thing to happen here from Elwind, who does have his Tiamat now completed. Looks like it is going to be the Frozen Mallet start here for Smurf this time, as opposed to that of the Black Cleaver.
Yeah, Frozen Mallet would definitely be good. It's not a good matchup for him. If he can get Frozen Mallet, then that means any mistake that Elwind does make in this lane in terms of just queuing in for a trade is much worse of an option for him, and he can really trade back a little more.
Oh, there's a Hemo Plague in the mid lane here as Ghost has been popped. Kira gets himself out of there, but has to start respecting CozQ, because honestly, I mean, he was just throwing a Q into the minion wave and ignoring Vladimir entirely.
Yeah, I mean, Vladimir right now is ahead in CS. Kira entirely has been looking. He roamed up once towards that top side of the map, and he flashed for Kirei in the red side jungle. In the entire meanwhile, CozQ has been farming up in this lane, becoming a bit of a nuisance. So, sure, it might be a good matchup for Kira, but Vladimir is still Vladimir. If he gets to a certain point, which he can farm up, get towards his items.
One thing I do like, though, is the fact that Kira is utilizing what makes Talia good in this particular matchup, because he can move around the map so much easier than that of a Vladimir.
And just because of his abilities to move around, I mean, we're seeing it now. He's level 7. That bottom lane of Dark Passage have to back away. But yeah, top side, he went for it, and he did neutralize Kirei's ability to impact that top side, as I did mention in Champ Select. And then now he's going bot side, so he's always impacting side lanes with his pressure whenever possible.
Yeah, making sure that whenever he's in Fog of War, Dark Passage do have to play defensively. Have to respect the fact that that Weaver's Wall could come in at any time. It's Kirei now sitting on top of his own ward, so knows that there's no vision on him. Yeah. Starting the back. We'll see whether he can actually find a successful gank here against the Narc. Cocoon finds a minion.
Very smart positioning from Smurf through and through. He recognizes that PvPStejos is in the bottom lane, so there's no reason for him to be aggressing further.
Ooh, Dazzle actually comes down as Likkrit does have the ultimate. It goes off. Also used by Rogu here as they get the invincibility, but it's not exactly utilized as there's the curtain call. Nice Dazzle onto Zeitnot, but he misses the bullet. Can he find the next one? His exhaust goes down. Fourth bullet is eaten as Likkrit just solos out Zeitnot on the back end, and Rogu's going to fall. aMiracle picks up the kill, and that's a 2 versus 2, 2-0 victory for ANX.
aMiracle was isolated from the fight, being able to get the Zeitnot, but Likkrit's hammer was just enough power to just smack Ash right out of there. And so, yeah, that 2v2 is in their favor.
Yeah, Zeitnot got razzle-dazzled to death, I think, is what we call it.
Definitely.
PvPStejos now makes his way towards the top side. There's another look on Elwind. Already you can see it's close to a 2,000 gold lead here for Albus NoX Luna. No turrets to fall just yet.
And it's just been synergy through and through. Jungle top lane synergy from Elwind and Kirei, obviously not there. They are not teammates. It's really just temporary. So there's just been some, you can tell, miscommunication in when Fiora should press upwards and when not to. And then in the bottom lane, that just comes down to Likkrit. As I said, right now, Ash and Braum should not be committing to these skirmishes. They are at a disadvantage. They should just be shoving up the lane and looking to pressure while top lane advantage goes through. But that's just what didn't happen.
Kirei currently looking towards that bottom side. There's the body slam. Ultimate comes down. Phenomenal riposte from Elwind. And that is nothing that's going to happen in the top lane.
Exactly. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. Just off of that alone, they're going to be able to get this dragon. Kira's not going to let this happen, though.
Oh, there's a seismic shove, but doesn't find it. Oh, Dazzle doesn't get there. Of course, the Deadly Flourish also didn't find the mark. There's Albus NoX Luna testing the dancing feet of Kirei, and they pass a test. Certainly say.
That was another movie of Mission Impossible right there.
Yeah.
With how many obstacles just came flashing at Kirei. Definitely saw his life flashing before his eyes.
I like how you use Mission Impossible there as well, and he's playing Elise, kind of like, you know, the big scene from Mission Impossible where he comes down from the roof.
Oh, I didn't want to admit to this, but I may have referenced the movie, but I have not seen any of the actual movies themselves.
That's all right. We can watch it later as there's a gank towards the bottom side. Rogu shoved back and destroyed. Kira's able to pick it up with the last bolt of the Q. And now Elwind looking for the 1v1. Riposte goes down. Flash comes in. Can he find it? And he does! Down from like 1 HP and understood what he could get done. Elwind gets it. Now 1-1 against Smurf. That's amazing.
Really well done, but the action's not done yet.
It most certainly isn't, as CozQ now looking for this gank. Kira in trouble as PvPStejos gets himself in front. Fantastic ult from Likkrit. Stops that stun from meaning anything, and there's the curtain call to follow up. CozQ smacked back, does of course have the pull as he has to flash afterwards, but there's the last bullet, and CozQ will fall down. Likkrit gets himself the kill, and they'll grab themselves an Infernal Drake as well. Albus NoX, Luna, they may lose their top laner, but still able to get the work done.
Yeah, I mean, CozQ and Kirei may have great synergy, but they can't win a 2v4.
Well, you can see already, bottom lane, some action, but let's have a look at this 1v1 one more time.
Yeah, so one big point here is that Elwind, here's the thing about Gnar versus Fiora, is that this matchup is fairly good for Fiora, but at the same time, Smurf can take it over at any time, any opportunity.
Yeah. It's Elwind, once again, playing aggressively. Smurf and Elwind now just facing off as once again a battle towards the bottom side. Miracle's going to get stunned, possibly taken down, but flashes out of the way. Likkrit looking for more. Kills. What the heck? Zeitnot just cannot get away from this Taric. And Rogu is able to make it to safety, but in the end, ANX still winning.
Yeah, I mean, here it just comes down to Likkrit and aMiracle. They've played really well together through and through for the entirety of the season, and they have a positive matchup. They're going to keep winning that 2v2.
Smurf and Elwind still going at it. There's the riposte. Maybe there could be a gank attempt possible here as Kirei makes his way in. It's a 2v2. Elwind goes down early, though, and Smurf tries to get out of the way. There's the grand challenge that went off, but Kirei now looking to try and get the 1v1. Not sure whether he can as PvPStejos gets work in.
He's just working around the minion wave.
Doesn't
really
find
well
the slow with the barrel. Now will get the bonk. No, he won't. Because there's the cocoon. Kira comes up. They've actually caught him underneath this turret. Seismic shove. And that is going to be Kira easily able to grab that kill. But can CozQ actually get anything back? Because there's no CC to come out of this, Vlad. And
but
there's the Hemo Plague. Likkrit comes in. Just heals him. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, so Vladimir's not going to be there on time. That's just not how the matchup works. Kira is always going to be up to that top side first. And so it just comes down to the fact that Vladimir just needs to be able to shove mid.
Well, Likkrit just moving back towards that bottom outer turret. And Elwind now hanging out here towards the top side. CozQ, of course, was shoving out that top lane. Elwind now looking to make sure he can get back there in time to get the shove. Likkrit and aMiracle now moving back towards the bottom lane, and everything's still just standard. 3,000 gold in the lead. But Albus NoX Luna still very, very comfortable. There's a weave as well coming in towards the bottom lane. And once again, Rogu is able to stand behind his AD carry this time. So he should still be okay. Didn't have the flash, of course, so good idea from Albus NoX Luna.
Once again, CozQ is rotating because the wave is just not there for him to take. He's checking to see if he can do anything, but Kira, once again, able to get to that bottom side of the map. Sure, he didn't get a flash going for anything, but once again, just great pressure.
Yeah, and can just make his way back towards the mid lane. We'll be able to continue farming absolutely fine. He's only down by about 8, as he's just been everywhere on the Rift. As Zeitnot takes about 1 billion damage from the grenade.
Ooh,
they're going for the 1v3 now as aMiracle's in trouble. No ultimate to come down from Likkrit just yet, as he does get the stasis. And there's going to be the follow-up stun. Can Kira actually get the work done here? As Riposte is going to slow down the Taric, and they get the shutdown. Now Kira trying to kite this one out, but ANX caught with their pants down and lose their bottom lane.
And Dark Passions commit to the play. Even though they did not need Elwind, they went for it anyways, because now they have 4 people. They're just going to be contesting for this tower.
Well, we'll see whether the tower can actually fall down. Cocoon lands at Kira at max range. He takes a lot of damage from that volley, but not able to find the kill. Elwind still walking away.
Would definitely have been much better for Elwind to cancel his TP. They had the kill. They could have just, if any other skirmish, if Gragas had rotated bot side with Kira, then they would have just disengaged and his lane would have been saved. But looks like now he does lose his tower in this matchup. It could be a good point for him now that he can either freeze up or he can put himself in the longer lane up against Gnar.
Well, PvPStejos just hanging out towards the top side, stealing away Raptor camp. And Kirei makes his way back towards the mid lane once again. 2-0-1, but unable to save that turret. First turret blood, of course, going down to Dark Passage.
Yeah, that was a great comeback from Dark Passage to be able to get that play going for themselves.
Only 2,000 gold behind now. That is a Renan's Hurricane completed for Zeitnot. We'll see whether he goes towards the Essence Reaver or whether he's going to head straight into the Infinity Edge, get as much damage as possible. What's your favorite version?
I would say Essence Reaver. It's a cheaper purchase, and on top of that, you really are there just for your utility. So once you can get it going for you, it's a great wave clear for you.
Yeah. An added CDR, of course, helping. As Smurf able to take down the Rift Herald with the help of his Gragas. Now back towards the top lane to go up against Elwind. So Likkrit possibly caught out here as the Winter's Bite doesn't find him. Zeitnot had the arrow, decides not to throw it as a second Infernal Drake's going to go down. Kirei gets cocooned and destroyed. Kirei's able to pick that one up. Fantastic dive from Dark Passage, and they're starting to turn it on.
Yeah, that's a really solid play. They're not going to be able to get this tower. 3-man strong Anox should be able to come and save it. But they're going to be looking for this dragon.
Yeah, Dark Passage looking for it. Of course, Smurf does have his teleport available. Elwind does not, but he's moving his way down here. PvPStejos gets the ward in. Can he get the steal is the question, as Rogu just trying to get himself in the way. Body blocking for this one.
They have execute. They should have it.
Well, it is going to be taken down. The arrow lands on PvPStejos as well, who has to flash out. There's the stun. The ultimate not off in time as Likkrit can't save his jungler. And now CozQ looking for more. Throws down the ghost. It just transfuses the Taric and walks away.
That was really well done. They waited for the Gragas Q barrel to completely fall off, so they do have the execute damage from Elise to take down that dragon. PvPStejos should not have looked to contest, but they're looking for this fight.
Flourish. Look at this, Smurf just gnawing them all back in, and the bottom lane just gets demolished.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was a good takeaway, and now they're going to be able to take down this tower. Much more pressure coming out of this team.
Yeah, they just turned it back on again. Of course, Albus NoX not necessarily looking like they were able to make the moves that they wanted to for the last 7 minutes. Dark Passage really did take some control, but that was a brilliant play. Smurf utilizing his lead. PvPStejos was able to give him.
You can tell both of these teams are incredibly even, taking great trades for themselves. Now, sure, Elwind did take red for him. This is really good because Smurf not only did to get himself a lot of gold from these 4 assists from these fights, but at the same time, he has...
the Rift Herald.
Yeah, he has the Rift Herald on top of the Phage and extra damage coming off of the Frozen Mallet. So this is a lot of combat power. He should actually be able to take down Elwind in a fight if he plays it perfectly. Extra red buff should be able to help Elwind.
Well, Ravenous Hydra is, of course, already there for Elwind as well. Going towards his Black Cleaver for item number 2, as is Smurf. Quite close to it as well, given the fact that he just picked up the core fields. Making his way back towards the top side. Very slippery is this Nara. As good cocoon on a PvPStejos as Kirei. Just trying to tell him, no Gragas is allowed in the pool or the river. Depending on the body of water. As Elwind now looking for it. Smurf utilizes the tower quite well, but Elwind's able to get the dive. The Fiora starting to go off.
Yeah, Fiora able to get the extra flash to chase him down. The tower, what could have been the difference, but very meaningless once he did have the flash damage. So that extra dash helped him out.
Yeah. Well, Kira getting some damage onto CozQ here. Almost down to Morellonomicon range, where that transfuse won't be able to give him back too much more. But Zeitnot, now with arrow in hand, throws it, doesn't get Kirei, but does land it onto PvPStejos. Oh, Kirei making sure that he has the seismic shove in the position that if the Elite goes in for the Q, going to get shoved away. So nicely done.
Exactly. And so even though right now Dark Passage are in a gold deficit, they are in a lead in terms of how easy they are able. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Curtain Call actually used in the middle. Like, what the heck? The 4th bullet just destroys Rogu. Volley down there as well. Zeitnot at least slows the approach of ANX, but PvPStejos stills once more.
Oh, nice.
Throws down the ultimate, was predicting the flash. Seismic shove walked out of, but Kira has his waiting volley and throws it into the back of his head. CozQ now trying to run away, but aMiracle's able to pick up that kill. And Albus NoX just group up and destroy.
Yeah, one by one they fall. And at that point, just before all of that, Dark Passage was in a really good position to snowball that top lane matchup, and they could really look to just play it easily from there. But they've lost 3 people, and now it looks like their Baron is a point of contention.
Yeah, Cocoon just flies through. Kirei, we'll see whether he can actually get anything done here. Not avoided with the repel. As Smurf just playing defense, trying to keep this Spider Lady out of there. And of course, as soon as the repel was used, the Baron then not an option. Kirei is going to fall down. Baron secured by PvPStejos as Elwind now looking to try and clean up. As the ultimate goes down, can Likkrit survive this as they get the stasis? Good body slam as Elwind still cutting this one out. It's a triple kill. Can he get anything more as he does eventually fall down? Rogu's going to fall as well. And the double's the answer as Smurf and Likkrit still with the Baron are able to get out of there.
So once again, Albus NoX Luna are able to save the game for themselves. They may have had the goal lead, but Gnar was in a really difficult place. They grouped up, they were able to get 3 kills and put themselves in a perfect position for that Baron. Now, Kirei had a great opportunity for himself to steal. He did have execute damage, but they just did not allow it to happen. Smurf walked over that Baron pit, decided to completely make it difficult for him. So the only option...
I like the fact that he threw out the Gnar, making sure that the only way to avoid it and avoid dying is to use repel, which is your way into the Baron pit.
Exactly. So the only other option was a flash, and if he's going to flash Q, then he really needs to be confident in it. Wasn't going to be able to get it.
Yeah, it didn't happen that time around, but Elwind, of course, managed to get himself 3 kills. So as far as split pushing is concerned, that win condition still alive for Dark Passage.
But that's just a bit of a synergy / team play thing. If they didn't start dying randomly in that in mid lane, they would not find themselves in this position. In fact, Dark Passage would have been in a really good spot right now for this Fiora.
Well, speaking of the Fiora now showing out that top wave, Curtain Call comes out in the mid lane, and there's the Weaver's Wall. They're actually just fish in a barrel right now as Zeitnot gets popped under the turret. Rogu has to flash as CozQ eventually makes his way in. It takes a fair bit of damage from Kira off the back end. Only that 1 kill, but can it be enough to take down this inner turret? PvPStejos just tanking up the CC, doesn't really care as aMiracle, last bullet, really able to do the work under the turret.
I mean, Zeitnot died with flash heal. He could have actually had flashed over that wall, so he definitely paid for that bit of greediness.
Now able to use the pull in time, gets out of the shove. Now Albus NoX Luna looking for this inhibitor turret. Last bullet lands, and that's a lot of damage. Hemoplague just to try and get them out of here, but it's not going to work. Of course, the Taric answer to the Vlad definitely there. So you can utilize that ult. PvPStejos is going to get stunned, but he's not the target that they want. Ult comes out from Rogu as well as Dark Passage just throwing abilities at ANX, but doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah, Stejos is far too tanky, but they're going in.
Goes CozQ, not able to get a kill just yet as Likkrit trying to play frontline. Kira taken down in the end. Good exhaust onto the Vlad, who's going to pop with that Duskblade. PvPStejos grabs the kill. That's one for aMiracle as Likkrit picks one up at the same time. Rogu now with the Unbreakable. Elwind makes his way in the backline. This is the raid boss that ANX have to deal with. He picks up the first kill onto aMiracle. Likkrit now running away. He gets taken down as the Winter's Bite connects. Ultimate comes out of PvPStejos, but I'm sorry, buddy. I have a feeling you're going to die, and that's Elwind picking up the kill.
Yeah, that's a lot of kills from him. He picked up 2 kills in that fight. He is 9-3-2. That one savior for Dark Passage is going to be in this Fiora. It's going to be really hard to effectively play out in team fights. So he really wants to set up this split push positioning, but now that they've lost inhib in mid, feels like he does not have that option for quite some time.
Yeah. Definitely worrying. Teleport going to be available first for Smurf, which is also important. Oh man, Bloodthirster done for Elwind. Double lifesteal item Fiora is despicable.
It really is.
And it's too much sustain. Raz? Too much. My personal opinion.
I mean, Nar's going to be feeling the same if he has to deal with it, but right now Smurf has been smart in how he deals with the matchup. If it's positive for him, he takes it. But generally, he has been looking to just group up with the rest of his team. Group mid, go for that good old ARAM.
Yep.
And just deal with it from there, because the best way to deal with a Fiora is to just play it out in team fights and look to just lock her down.
Yeah, try and get the focus on her when she's not using her riposte. As Elwind finds Kira, will he get the shove in time is the question. Does get thrown away. So Elwind gets a flash.
Yeah. Not only flash, he's going to lifesteal that back up, so that trade really just did not mean much to Elwind at all.
Yeah, Kirei actually forced to go back to base as aMiracle and Likkrit pushing up this bottom side. There is an inner turret to take down, and Smurf has the aid of super creeps helping him shove this one back out, but Elwind does have a lot of damage. Kirei in there as well. Zeitnot turns up. They will be able to grab the turret against the tide of those supers. Smurf now actually wants to find his way through. Weaver's wall going to knock them out. Good bounce comes in as the grand challenge not going to deter Smurf, who's looking for the ultimate. Can he find it though? He just gets blown up. As we can see, Elwind was able to pick up that kill. Kirei, of course, still offering damage from the back end. Let's have a look at it.
Yeah, and the fact that he was able to get
Smurf was ridiculous. I mean, the Dazzle was there, and look at the grand challenge, healing up the rest of Dark Passage as they turn this one around. In goes CozQ into the back line. We'll see whether he's going to be able to get anything done as Kirei bounces back up. CozQ, aMiracle. Wow, what kiting. Fantastically well done. PvPStejos still trying to take control. Kirei still alive towards the top end. aMiracle trying to get out of the way of Elwind, who does get the lunge and grabs the double kill. He's falling down low. Kirei grabs it, chucking a volley over the top. And it's 2 versus 2. Jungler and mid laner versus mid laner and support. Now CozQ. Whoa, that range. A little bit close. There's an even trade in the end.
Yeah, Dark Passage have to back away. Big point was the fact that Gnar was not up against the wall when he did get stunned up. And so the Q, the final Q, the one proc coming out that was really needed for Elwind, ended up getting. So he was able to proc up the healing for the rest of his team. It was not a hard advantage for his team, but at the same time, they were right back into this game.
Yeah, they most certainly were. aMiracle as well, cutting out CozQ, making sure that he couldn't get into that backline like he thought I personally thought he would be able to do with the flank that he had. But aMiracle surviving for long enough. Zeitnot, of course, not having the game that he wants. 0-7-6, but it's all about Elwind. He's got a pretty strong back against Albus NoX Luna right now. Weaver's wall is going to come in there, looking to try and lock down someone. Kirei doesn't hop on the wall.
You can just keep spamming that. So he's been actually very on point with his Weaver's walls throughout and just dividing the rest of his team, or the enemy team at that.
Yeah. Well, now split push continuing on the bottom side. We'll see whether Smurf can keep this inner turret alive as Zeitnot. He's splitting in the mid lane.
Ooh, this
We've got a
is really
3-1-1
risky.
Situation happening.
He's fighting up against super minions. Or at least that was the last wave that he went through. So this is actually going to be an interesting trade.
Well, he's on the inhibitor turret. Of course, Meganar is going to be there. Smurf looking for it. Arrow lands point blank rage, but you can see Albus able to take down this inhibitor turret on the top side. The Ashe is able to take down the Gnar when, of course, the Fiora turns up. But now, can Dark Passage save this inhibitor? That's the question. With 3 members, they're looking whether they can. In fact, Rogu engages, gets the ultimate down, and Hip falls in the mid lane. They're just buying time. Dark Passage want to try and win the game. There's the ultimate going down. The Hemoplague doing work. Curtain Call. We'll see whether it's enough to take down Rogu. Good Unbreakable, but it's not enough. As now Albus NoX looking to try and defend the dang base. As Kirei stopping the backs. Kirei able to lock down the kill. But the Nexus turrets are falling, and Dark Passage with the play to win the game. That was ridiculous and entirely unexpected.
That was a game of poker at the end of the day because they had 4 strong. Gnar was just trying to defend against 2 people in 2 different lanes. At first, that just felt very bad for Dark Passage because they split up their focus. But you know what? Fiora has TP. Saves the Ashe by just TPing in there in that 1v1 that Gnar was trying to force. Gnar didn't have to try and force anything. He just had to defend. He didn't have to look for that fight, but he thought he saw that what seemed like a very easy 1v1 turned into a 2v1. He just dies. And then just, of course, Ashe and Fiora, especially with Fiora's build at that point, was able to just demolish that base.
Yeah, with the fact that the rest of Dark Passage was so tanky as well. I mean, they got a Braum and a Vladimir. It takes a lot of killing.